KSQD thanks the Resource Center for Nonviolence for their support. RCNV celebrates 50 years of creating beloved community through education, events, and local action. Their 50th anniversary celebration is Saturday, November 7th. Tickets and information about renting their event space at rcnv.org. Thank you, Resource Center for Nonviolence, for supporting community radio. K-Squid.
And you're listening to K-Squid right now. We are your community radio for the Monterey Bay area. And we are going to, in just a moment, hear from Joe Jordan. He is your cosmic guide to the stars and the heavens. If you are in a dark place, not that kind of dark place, if you are in a place where the sky is dark and there's not a lot of light pollution, there's a lot to look at up there. And in just a moment, we'll be talking with Joe about what you can see in the night sky in the current atmosphere. And up in Bonnie Doon is probably the best place. I'm lucky enough to live up there, and there's a lot of planets visible right now. We'll hear about those in just a minute with Joe Jordan, your cosmic guide. Meanwhile, stay tuned for Ask Dr. Dawn at 6 o'clock. She'll be in person answering your questions. If you have something special you need to know about medically, you can always get in touch and email at on air at ksqd.org. All right. Joe Jordan is in the house. He's going to sit down in the chair. He literally walked in seconds ago. He's going to get comfortable and start talking about the stars. So, hi, Cosmic Joe. How are you?
Pretty good. Here for some cosmic relief, I guess, after all the intense social and political issues we're all grappling with every day.
It does help just look up the sky and feel how insignificant we are, right?
Yeah, and, it's beautiful up there. It's interesting and beautiful. And I guess the immediate impetus of my coming in to talk this evening was there's this spectacle raging in the western twilight evening skies now. And you see this bright light, maybe a half hour after sunset. That's Venus. That's the brightest of our planets, but also the closest to us most of the time. And then up and to the left of that is Jupiter, also blazing away. It's much bigger than Venus, but also much farther away. And the two of them are drawing closer and closer every night. And Venus to the lower right, Jupiter up to the upper left. And you usually see Venus by maybe 8:30, 8:45, maybe half an hour after sunset. Jupiter, though, takes a little bit longer to see. The sky needs to get a little bit darker. And it's going to be totally awesome on June 9th. That's what we're kind of aiming at. And even after June 9th, I mean, they'll still be really close together, but the closest is on June 9th. And so it's kind of neat just to watch these two headlights up in the western sky drawing closer. They're earning their name of planets. The word planet comes from a Greek word, planeti, meaning wanderers.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's these bright lights, that wander around. They do their own thing. They're not stuck in fixed constellations. They appear to move, partly because of their own motion around the sun, but also because of our motion. It's kind of like when you move and you're looking at something in the distance, it appears to move, as a reflection of your motion, literally a reflection of your motion. So anyway, it's on June 9th, it's going to look like a truck driving out of the sky at you with its high beams on. So let's hope for good, clear weather wherever you and we are. And again, if it's not clear that particular night, well, hey, it'll be damn good during the run-up and follow-up.
One of our favorite things is to be outside right around that time, and we saw that in the sky, and now I know what I was looking at.
Oh, just recently?
Yeah, just last night.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, Venus is really bright, and then what is that other thing? So now you know. Hey, I wanted to share with you, and you probably already heard this, but in Oklahoma, they just designated, up in the upper left-hand corner of the state, a dark sky park.
Wow.
Where now you can go, and there's nobody interfering. It's near the Black Mesa. Apparently there wasn't much going on, not too many visitors, so they designated it. Can you explain what the Dark Sky organization is and what they're trying to do?
Yeah, we might have a little show on your show or other shows on this station sometime soon. We have a local chapter here in Santa Cruz of the International Dark Sky Association. And the idea is we're concerned and vexed about the excessive artificial nighttime illumination all over the place. You just can't get away from it now. It's kind of a craze almost, because there's lots of cheapo, security, so-called security lighting, and businesses and homes and all kinds of people just slap this stuff up, especially the cheaper it is, and they kind of think that, it's going to protect us from burglars and actually, a lot of times, there's no complete scientific slam dunk consensus on this, but more often than not, the bright lights help the vandals and the burglars do their dirty work.
So they can see better to rob you.
Yeah, and to just mess around with whatever they're aiming for. So it's a whole culture change that needs to happen. And we're working on the city of Santa Cruz, our little local chapter here of IDA. Well, now it's called DSI, Dark Sky International. And we're trying to get the city to cool it on some of the artificial lights that are just kind of out of control, like, a couple of bridges over the river downtown that are spilling all sorts of light down to where the fish, the salmon or whatever other salmonids are, and they don't like that light. And, this is a thing which not only wrecks aesthetics for people, but also the ecology for animals and plants, birds and all sorts of things, turtle migrations and the egg laying and all over the world. So anyway, but that's great that Oklahoma, don't normally associate great things with Oklahoma, but hey, it's starting to come up in the world in its reputation now. But
it was a park ranger that had the idea. Apparently they used to have lots of spotlights, big lights on poles, and they got rid of those, and after that it was very dark, and because of that they designated it the first dark sky park. So now you can go to northwestern Oklahoma and go see more stars than you'll ever see in the city.
That'll be a reason. I've been there once. I was on a deployment with NASA studying jet contrails and their effects on global warming, climate change, and I went down for a day to Oklahoma. I mainly remember hard red soil and scrub bushes.
They said hardly anybody goes to that park, so they were hoping this would draw tourists to the Black Mesa National Park. So
yeah. Well, neat.
Go.
And so we've got an ordinance, by the way, for the city of Santa Cruz at the request of the mayor. Then I guess he's still the mayor. We wrote up a sample, or actually to be or adopted as a real ordinance for the city of Santa Cruz to moderate and be more conscious about the lighting. But unfortunately, that thing has been languishing in the city bureaucracy. And so we could use some help driving these things through our local government.
What would you like people to do?
Get a hold of the Santa Cruz Dark Sky. There's a fellow named Mark Buxbaum, who's kind of our leader, Buxbaum. And so Dark Sky Santa Cruz, look that up. I think that's our official name. But, you can, you can get a hold of me through Rachel here. I'm volunteering Rachel for relay work.
Okay.
But anyway.
That's on air at ksqd.org if you want to reach us. So I wanted to talk about the whole massive amount of satellites being launched and whether that's a real bane to the existence of amateur astronomers like you.
Well, actually, it's the professional astronomers like our friend Martin Gaskell and all of his crew. They do not like all these extra points of light.
Starlink, we're talking to you.
Yeah. And, I actually, I have to confess, I'm amazed and it's really amused when I see one of these. It's like what I call a quantized comet or a crystallized comet. But I have to admit,
you mean the Starlink?
Yeah. Like you see a whole chain of these lights, and they're all like a little kid. One time in a group I was doing a stargazing for, she said, "It's like Bart at night." It's like all these Bart train cars, and they all one by one went into a cave and disappeared as they go into the shadow of the Earth. So there's cool stuff to play around with, but actually, even my Dark Sky Association peers here do not like that. I'm kind of the bad boy. I mean, I'm not advocating for more of these things. I just have to say that they're really cool looking.
Now, when they go out of commission, what happens to them? Do they come back to Earth through the atmosphere, or do they just stay up there as space junk?
I think they have to come back, but they do a lot of damage up there, or potential damage, as space junk. I mean, they can run into stuff, You get a spacesuit of a spacewalking astronaut, a paint flake hits him, he's in trouble.
17,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, right. 5 miles a second. That's what stuff in orbit is doing up there without any propulsion.
And there's no legal construct by which we could say someone has to clean up the space junk, right? It's just we keep throwing it up there.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into the politics and the policy of that yet. I just haven't kept up with it, really. And I should, and we all should, because the professional astronomers can tell us what the problem is. I mean, for instance, you photobomb, you're doing into hours-long time exposure or whatever, or maybe with modern CCD technology, just much shorter time. But still, you get one of these chains of brilliant lights coming through, and unpredictably almost, and your study has to back to the drawing board.
What are some of the discoveries you're excited about that you're reading about in astronomy that maybe we haven't heard of because we are focused on Iran or other kinds of things going on?
Yeah, well, it all has to do with things like, I just saw an article, I didn't really probe it in depth, but it said, did time flow slower just after the Big Bang? This is heavily mathematical stuff, general relativity and space-time and gravity, but there's all sorts of things that are very intriguing, and the Webb telescope. I look forward to finding out more. We haven't had any public talks around here on that. There's a whole body of work that it has come up with. There's this series of astronomy lectures, by the way, for anybody who's interested. They're over at the, what's the name of that auditorium? It's at Foothill College, Foothill De Anza, and I think 6 times a year, and they got one more this year coming up soon. I think it's May 20th, actually. Look that up, Foothill College Astronomy Lecture Series, and I'm hoping soon they'll have somebody who talks about the bounty of results and data and understanding that comes from that Webb telescope, because it's an amazing, it's hanging out there 1 million miles away from us.
No light pollution out there.
Right.
How about the moon shot where they went around the moon and came back?
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what you thought about all that.
Well, I mean, I was a kid in 1968 when they first went around the moon. And I remember, delivering papers back east it was around Christmas time. It was cold, and
yeah.
it was a clear, cold day back east. And I remember looking up at the crescent moon and thinking, "Wow, they are out there and they are going around that thing." And then, of course, Christmas Eve, their big suspense was now they got it wired more, so there wasn't any great suspense really. But back then, they had to. The signal went away when they went behind the moon, but it had to come back at just the right time, or else they wouldn't have done the rocket burn right. And then they would have either skipped out of the Earth's atmosphere off into oblivion forever, or they would burn up on re-entry to the Earth. And they got it just right. The signal came back as they came around the backside of the moon, and it was Christmas Eve. And one of the astronauts, I think it was Lovell, read, from Luke 2 in the Bible, the Christmas story. And it was a very touching, dramatic moment, and back east where I was, it was like midnight. It was just Christmas right then, and I don't know if that answers it. I guess you're maybe looking for a more scientific thing about the Artemis and all that.
Well, it doesn't have to be. I'm just curious if you what you think about the whole mission to land on the moon again.
Yeah.
This was part of that. That was supposed to be the first step, right?
Yeah. I don't have any strong opinions on that, actually. I pushed hard way back, I was at Oberlin College, very socially conscious college, first coeducational college in the world, first to admit African Americans. And people were always asking me about, well, what, $24 billion for moon rocks? I was defending the space program back then and still do. But the Artemis thing, I kind of need to talk with some folks about it and get my head straight about the cost of it. What are the benefits of it? I mean, it seemed like the media treated it as if it's obviously the cat's meow, and just we should all automatically accept this. Actually, before we forget, I don't know how much time we have.
We have exactly 6. Well, we have to go out at 3 minutes till the top of the hour. So
okay. I'll look
about
at
12 minutes.
About 10 minutes, yeah. So there were 6 things that I wrote down on my hand here, 6 initials, MMASC. I wanted to cover M was what? Oh, well, the moon.
Well, we're talking about it.
The moon, well, yeah, and it's a good follow-on right now. But when these 2 planets are very close, next week they won't be at their closest yet. But the crescent moon will come by and grace them. And the crescent moon is always, I consider, the most beautiful and interesting phase. And then when it's setting off a couple of planets, bright planets, that's just going to be a sight to see. That'll be around the 18th of May and 19th somewhere.
Have you messed around with your iPhone trying to take pictures of stars? It's really hard. You have to change all the settings.
Yeah. Sometimes for planets I have, and I haven't really mastered that, all those settings and stuff. Let's see. What was the other M? Mercury. Okay. Mercury. The planet Mercury is going to get into the mix also in the coming weeks. And, it's not anything spectacular. It's not very bright. It's small. It's very close to the sun. You rarely see it for very long before or after sunset or before sunrise. But it will be one of the better apparitions of the year in a few days. If you want to find out about all these things, there's all sorts of web resources, but skyandtelescope.com is a good old magazine. When I was in high school, I first started reading it, skyandtelescope.com. There's also astronomy.com.
There's a Santa Cruz Astronomy Club, too, yeah?
Well, yeah. Thanks for that shout out. I don't know what their website is. You just Google them. SCAC, it's Santa Cruz Astronomy Club. And they give talks every now and then. I should propose to them that they give a talk on the Webb telescope. Get one of these. There was a university guy who gave a talk on it at the Temple Bethel way back 2 years ago, and I spaced it out. I forgot the talk. I got my Sundays mixed up. But anyway, so I want a reprise of that. So let's see, MMASC. Oh, okay. The A is for Aurora, the Aurora Borealis. They are saying that there is action on the sun right now, and stuff that's headed our way that could cause the atmosphere to fluoresce, which is what's going on when you see the northern lights or the southern lights. I've seen the southern lights from Tasmania down off Australia. But both ends of the Earth's atmosphere flare up at the same time, usually. So this weekend, they're saying maybe this weekend.
Here?
Yeah, here.
And what time?
Well, after dark for sure. It has to be dark.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, twilight is late these days. Sun goes down after 8, and then the sky's still kind of bluish. So maybe 9. 9:30.
You got to know which way north is.
Yeah, just look north and get thee to a dark site, not a light-polluted site like what we're railing about.
You could fly to Oklahoma if you want.
Yeah, right. That's a good idea. Fly to Oklahoma. And by the way, spaceweather.com is a really good website that reports on and shows beautiful pictures of such phenomena and also tells you the prospects. So spaceweather.com.
Have you ever seen pictures of the world at night from a satellite?
Yeah.
It's really fascinating because there's, you can see where the big cities are. They're like metastasis lights, spreading throughout the darkness, and especially on the 2 coasts.
And then you can actually see this curtain of fluorescence around the pole. Yeah. Which is the northern lights as seen from many places in the Arctic area or the Antarctic.
So what day is this aurora supposed to happen?
Well, this weekend, they were saying. Monitor, spaceweather.com, and they'll tell you. They will have a map with colors for the likelihood that in your area. I mean, usually it's in the northern tier of states, but hey, I've seen them here in Santa Cruz 3 or 4 times.
People have taken pictures with those settings just right, and it turns purple.
Yeah.
And that's really cool, but it's not what they saw with their eyes.
Yeah, they say the pictures look better than what they actually saw.
They did, yeah. If you squint, you might see it.
Yeah. I got 2 more things here. We did the MMA. Now the S and then the C. The S, Venus is going to get so bright after this conjunction. But all through the summer, after Jupiter has fled the scene and gone around behind the sun, Venus will still be gracing the evening sky. And it will get so bright that by July, August, if you pay me enough, I can show it to you in broad daylight.
This is non-commercial, right?
Okay.
No, Brad.
No, just a joke there. But you can see it in the broad daylight. I mean, you look up. I can help you line up with a tall treetop and say, okay, get right here and look right at the top of that tree, and you'll see this star, a white star in the blue. 2 p.m. I'm talking about 2 p.m. Or 10 a.m. or whatever. So it'll be so bright that you can see your shadow cast by Venus after the night has gotten really dark. After like maybe 10 o'clock and Venus is still up there, you can actually see your shadow cast by Venus. That I've only seen that a couple of times. Once was in Hawaii on the island of Kauai, far away from any lights, but it could definitely see the shadow. Anyway, finally, C. We're going to say
C is for Cat Stevens has to rewrite Moonshadow.
That's a good one. Well, actually, I do these stargazings. This is not commercial. They're free anyway. Free public stargazings out at the Costanoa Resort. That is a neat place up the coast near the Pigeon Point Lighthouse, just past Año Nuevo State Park. And they have a wonderful little restaurant there. I really like the restaurant. Actually, when I go up there, I just go up there, show people stars, and then come home. But sometimes they'll stick around. You don't have to be staying there. You don't have to be eating at the restaurant, which I recommend, though. But anyway, it's free for anybody who shows up. And so just 8:30 this coming Saturday, next Saturday, the Memorial Day weekend, the 23rd of May. That's after this Saturday. Weather permitting, of course. Fog could come in, and sometimes we go for it, and then I do True Tall Tales of the Universe by a fire or something.
Well, that sounds nice, too.
Yeah, and then another one after that I have scheduled. I got them kind of scheduled at random into the fall. There's one June 13th, one July 17th. Then they go on and on. But if you go
do you have a website?
Well, they do, Costanoa.com. I should have a website, but it's spelled, it's a Native American word, cost, like C-O-S-T-A, Costanoa.com. And if you go there and you click on See and Do, and then activity schedule, on the weeks when I am scheduled, they'll have it on there. It says Naked Eye Stargazing with Cosmic Joe.
Is that Naked Eye? Wow, that's pretty racy. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't, people say, do you bring a telescope? And, I made a telescope when I was in high school and all that. But with the telescope, you just have this long line of people waiting one by one to peer through the thing. And it's really cool to look through a scope. But I have a green laser that I just point at constellations and planets and show the layout of everything. You see the plane of the galaxy, the Milky Way. You can see the plane of the solar system, which lies along the zodiac, and you can see where they intersect actually at a 60-degree angle. Our solar system is like a quarter stuck in a pancake, but it's sitting up at a 60-degree angle, and you can actually see those orientations in the sky.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to joining you someday, but there is also an opportunity for stargazers. Occasionally, the Santa Cruz Astronomy Club comes up to the church at Bonnie Doon, and Martin Gaskell hosts, and people do have really high-end astronomy gadgets of various sorts, mostly telescopes, and they are more than happy to let you and your kids look through them. So I think if you found their website, I tried to look it up and it didn't work.
Oh, the Astronomy Club?
Mm-hmm. But I bet you could just Google Astronomy Club of Santa Cruz or Monterey if you live down there, and you could find it.
Yeah, there's one guy who's very heavily involved. He runs the Lighthouse Hostel. Jeff Perry. Well, in fact, we interviewed him. Remember, but he and Lisa Hestrong. We talked about dark skies years ago
That was on
Planet Watch Radio in 2017. Well, anyway, so Jeff Perry's email address is jeffdperry, Parry, @gmail.com. So he'll, he will tell you, what were we talking about?
Santa Cruz Astronomy Club.
Oh, yeah, he's very involved with that.
He has kind of a British accent. I know, I can picture him now.
No, actually, no. Not Jeff.
Glasses.
Martin Gaskell has a British accent.
He does. It's not required to go view stars to have a British accent, I promise you. Well, thanks, Joe, for bringing the sky into the studio today. We're usually in the ocean here on K-Squid, but we jumped up to the stars. And if you've never been to a Joe Jordan talk, you're in for great surprise and delight. One time, I have to tell a story on you before we go. So I came out of Logos, which was operational at the time. It was raining, and there was a puddle out front. And there's Joe Jordan going, "Hey, everybody, come around this puddle. Look at this. There's these two things that look like, quotation marks, and that's the light." And then you started to explain the physics of the light bouncing off the puddle. And you had like 10 people looking into a rain puddle. So that just tells you how much he loves science and how much you could love science too if you join him on one of these excursions.
I guess that would be an example of keep an eye on the ground, but I always finish with keep an eye on the sky.
Cosmic Joe Jordan on K-Squid. Thank you for coming.
Thank you,
in.
Rachel, and everybody have a good weekend. And
right.
Make sure you look at those planets.
All right, I'm Rachel Ann Goodman. This has been Talk of the Bay, and Dr. Don is up next right after this, First Person Singular.